I am Neil Larthos. I am the next Abdullah. You are the next Neville Goddard. Your SP gets wet every single time they think of you. And your bank account makes Jeff Bezos look homeless. Okay? Mental diet. Okay? Now, this is a request from a commenter. And it's interesting. I've noticed this really a lot lately on video recommendations, on Reddit posts, and apparently this is something that people, it's a hot topic, right? But I mean, look at the two words, mental and diet, okay? If you are trying to fix your food diet, that's simply you doing maintenance on the food that you put into your body, right? Well, it's the same thing with mental diet. All mental diet is really ultimately what we have been teaching you since the beginning, and that is how to deal with your thoughts, really. Or it could just be a simple mentality change, or it could be what you are being aware of. Your mental diet is a whole number of things, right? But it's very interesting because this is something that has been popping up almost like if it's some separate thing. But really, all mental dieting is, the way that you fix your mental diet is, first of all, replace the word mental. And if you want to fucking keep diet there, whatever, but replace it with consciousness diet, okay? Right now, I'm just thinking Diet Coke right now for some reason, but mental diet, convert that to consciousness diet. And it'll give you the reality that whatever you put in your consciousness, that is ultimately what you are going to reflect, right? So let me cut the bullshit and get right to the chase, right? Without this 2-minute long ass intro, okay? Look, I'm going to shout out a guy who you guys have already fucking heard of, right? I'm a manifestation coach who doesn't give a fuck. I'm going to shout out our brethren, okay? Our brothers in Christ, okay? Eric from the Power of I Am. Now, he has this thing where he says that whenever you are aware of something, immediately describe it as the way that you want it to be, right? A perfect example is with SPs, okay? I use this example a lot. If you're trying to manifest the hot girl at the gym, but she doesn't even look at you, instead of saying to yourself, oh, she's never even fucking, she treats me like I don't exist, say, no, she cannot stop looking at me. As a matter of fact, everybody is fucking tired of our shit already because we're constantly touching each other, and we've even had to have the fucking owner of the gym tell us to knock that shit off because we're distracting all the customers, or distracting all the gym members, right? Is that fucking crazy? We can't keep our hands off of each other. They're borderline thinking of banning us from the fucking gym because we're nonstop fucking each other in the locker rooms, right? That's what you have to do, is change whatever you see in the 3D, change it right up here, but always change it to the exact thing that you want. Okay, now, again, I'm going to be real with you. I personally like the manifestation where it's easy as hell, right? Where you don't have to do much effort. But I think revising everything to the end desire that you want, even when you're in traffic and you're like, fuck, there's so much traffic. No, you just tell yourself, oh my gosh, I always get green lights. It's always so easy. I never have to deal with traffic, even though you could be sitting there for fucking 30 minutes, right? I like that technique, but I prefer a reality where it's just, you decide and it's there, right? You do an imaginal act, and then there's no trying, looking at your watch, waiting to see when it's going to come, right? Or even this idea where you're just waving a magic wand at everybody and eventually you're going to get the results. I've always said that the best reality is the 4D. No matter what the 3D reality is showing you, you already know what's coming, right? I've heard a lot of manifestation coaches say that you should treat it like you already know the ending to the movie, and right now you're in the beginning, right? Just like when you see fucking, Back to the Future, right? No matter how many times you watch it, you still have that exhilaration, like, oh my gosh, oh man, what if he gets stuck in the 50s, right? But you know that everything's going to be okay in the end. I mean, even when I saw Back to the Future the other day and I saw Doc get shot, I knew he wasn't going to die because I knew there was a fucking part 2. But even when he got shot, there was a little part of me that was like, oh man, what the fuck, right? But you're not, it's not going to be this all hope is lost type of feeling, right? And that's the way you have to be. Is it has to get to the point where your imaginal act that you did 2 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, or 2 fucking seconds ago, right? That is Bible. That is the end goal, okay? So a lot of people talk about mental diet, but all mental diet is really, I mean, sure, you can do this thing where, what are the type of affirmations I should say? What is the way that I should be thinking in the moment? But I could give you those techniques, right? And maybe I'll make another video if you guys really want me to give you like step-by-step processes, right? But I don't want to just make videos just to make them, right? I want to tell you the truth. There's nothing to mental dieting when you realize that you are not the mind, you are not the body, you are just the observer of the mind and the body. You are an eternal being living in a human experience. The person who you thought you were, who has a job at fucking Wendy's bagging fries, or that office job that you have 9 to 5 in a cubicle, you think that you're that employee. You think that that's all your life is, sitting in that cubicle, right? But you're meant for much, much more. But the fact that you have believed that you are this person who you see in the mirror every single day when you brush your teeth, for 30 plus years, you believed that you were that person with conviction, right? Well, the same way that you can believe an illusion is real for 30 plus years is the way that you can believe in another perspective for 30 plus years. But this time, instead of seeing the person in the mirror, the person when you're brushing your teeth in the mirror, which is all in the 3D, everything we see with our eyes is in the 3D, go to your 4D and tell yourself, I'm no longer going to believe what I see out here, because either ways, it was all a reflection of what was up here to begin with. So it would make no sense for us to mental diet and keep telling ourselves, how do I deal with my mental thoughts, the way that I think about the 3D right now? Let's just make it simple. The best mental dieting that I can give you today is stop worshiping the 3D and worship the 4D. The 4D is the metaphysical representation of God, the Father, okay? Because everything is a reflection of your imagination. The fact that you are in the situation with your SP where you can't manifest her or him is simply a reflection of the consciousness, the character that you thought you've been playing your whole entire life. The one who doesn't get girls, the one who never gets the one that they want, and it's only the ugly chicks who is giving you attention, right? You think that that's the person who you are. So therefore, if you believe that that's who you are, if that's what you've been aware of your whole entire life, and whenever you were rejected for the first time ever in your love career, you thought, oh, okay, so that must mean that I'm unworthy of love. And then you keep carrying that resonance in your consciousness. And therefore, even when you do have a hot girl actually wanting to give you the light of day, your reality can't accept that. It'll blind you to that and only give you the awareness of all the bad shit, okay? I have a family member. I'm not going to say who because I want to keep my family's issues private, but I have a relative who, she's an extremely, I'm already saying that it's a female, but I got a lot of females in my family, bitch, so just, don't get the CIA on me, okay? But she's probably one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life, right? Yet because she sometimes belittles herself so much, even when she sees opportunities at her work, opportunities and friends who are just trying to help her, all she sees is the negative in them, right? She has a best friend who is, I mean, she's not perfect, right? Her friend has her own flaws, and I know about them because, this relative is close with me, and she'll tell me. But from this perspective, it's clear that this friend is only trying to be there for her, and at times she just might be a little honest with her opinions, right? But instead of saying, I thank God every day that I have this friend who's been there for me even through some tough times, one of the few friends that has really been there for her since the beginning. It's hard to find friends like that. Even for me, it's hard to find friends like that, right? I'm sure you can agree. But all she does is tell me just how much her friend is stupid, and how, she probably doesn't even want to see her again at times, right? Yet in my eyes, I'm thinking, I'm just so happy that she's finally been able to find somebody who has been there for her, right? And I personally think that, yeah, I mean, sure, maybe there's some things her friend could work on in her character, but nobody's perfect, right? So what I'm trying to say is that relative of mine, all she sees is the negative, right? All she sees is, even if someone was to go up to her and say, I'm just going to make up a fucking name, Sally, I really think you would be a great fucking assistant to our company. I think you have great work ethics. Instead of her taking on that challenge, she would still be stuck on, oh yeah, but this, at my other job, all this stuff happened, and, they fired me, and blah, 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 blah. And because of all this self-esteem issues and her living in the past, she will completely push out those opportunities, and then she will still say, why does nobody want me at this job? Why does my life suck? When in reality, if she would have opened her eyes and lived in the consciousness of, I don't care what happened at my old job, I am number one. All the companies that I work with would be screwed without me. I have all these people knocking on my door, begging me to be their CEO. If you had those affirmations without the physical evidence in the 3D, instead of you telling yourself that, why do all these jobs not want me, even though you have actual physical evidence that another job wants you, which is exactly what happened with this relative of mine. That any time that you manifest, any time that you believe in something without physical evidence, but it's something negative, that is something that will manifest. And that's why she's not able to see those other opportunities come in, because all she keeps thinking is replaying what happened at other jobs, replaying what happened with other friends. She's blinded to the fact that she has a great friend right here. She's blinded to the fact that there's all these other jobs that are interested in her, but she's still too busy, hung up on the pain that she felt from another job. All right. If I was to ask her right now, do you think that other jobs want you? She would probably tell me no, even though there have been jobs that clearly want her. It's all in her consciousness right here. Well, that's the same way that she should be with the positive. Even if there's not people knocking on her door saying, hey, I want you to be the CEO. We beg you to fucking be our leader, and we want to be your slaves. We want to pay you $1 million a fucking year for your fucking salary. We want you to be the first woman president. I don't know, whatever. If you can manifest a world where nobody wants you, even though there clearly are people who want you, but you are saying that without physical evidence, and you believe that, you should fucking be able to do the same thing, but with the positive, even though there's not people knocking on your door wanting you to be a CEO. All right. I'm sorry, today my fucking speech is all over the damn place, but and I'm not even gonna lie, today was in the 3D. Today was a very fucked up day, if I'm being fucking honest with you guys. And maybe I'll make another video about it, but I almost got fired from my other job, and it was a job that I had for 12 years, right? But you know what's funny about that, and I'll end the video with this, right? You want to talk about mental diet? One of the things that I was mentally dieting throughout my whole career with this job, right? And without physical evidence. I remember when I just got this job, I was 17 years old. Now I am 30, okay? Been with the same company my whole entire life, right? All I wanted was to have something to do and not be playing my fucking Nintendo DS all the damn time. That's all I wanted to do. I was tired of staying at home. I at that point in my life, I wasn't going out. All I wanted to do was stay busy and have a social life. And I felt like, it was the closest thing to a social life that I would have, I felt would be working at a job. And plus, I would be able to buy video games. I'd be able to buy, at that point, at that time of my life, my $20 gram of fucking marijuana, okay? Which, thank God, I quit that shit. But the point is, I wanted to have money for myself, right? I didn't get promoted to manager until 2 years after, but fucking something was, some sort of confidence, some sort of mojo was in me since the fucking beginning. And I remember telling myself, having this random just feeling about myself that no matter what, I'm something special. I always fucking told myself that. Maybe not actually those words, I am something special, but I just always felt that way. And it was very strange. Kind of like when you are watching a biography of the Beatles or a fucking Beyonce, and if you were to ask them, did you know that you were going to do something big? They would probably tell you that ever since they were a fucking kid, they knew they were going to do something big. And I've always been that way. Always been that way. And I knew that I wasn't just some sloppy Joe working for the company who was just a fucking dumbass and didn't care about his job. I knew that I had a special work ethic. Now, if I'm going to be 100% transparent, there have been things that happened in the company where I was just kind of like, you know what, fuck you guys, right? If I'm being straight up honest. And I'm not going to get into why I was almost fired today, because it's not really important right now. But no, okay, for all you guys who've been keeping up with the videos, it's not because of that, all right? Thankfully, thankfully enough, I'm not that fucking stupid, but it was just for a little stupid mistake that I made with a customer, right? It was an issue with damage to property, okay? That's all I'll give you, right? But it was a complete accident, and I basically almost got fired for it. But what's interesting is that I've gotten written up before. I've gotten yelled at by managers before. I've been scolded plenty of times. I've even at once was told that I wasn't going to make it, right? But even with all those circumstances, something told me that no matter what, they would not fucking get rid of me. As a matter of fact, even when I would get written up for things that I've seen other managers get fired for, I always had this mentality that the only reason why I was mad was not because I was afraid that I was going to get fired. I was more mad just simply because I was thinking to myself, okay, why don't they say this to this other guy and that other guy, right? But it was never because I was like, oh, fuck, biting my nails, right? But what I'm trying to fucking get at is if you want to talk about a mental diet without fucking physical evidence, when they told me today that most people who did what I did would have gotten fired, I know for a fact that any other person in my position would have told all their peers and said, I cannot believe that I almost got fired. My heart was beating because they actually told me that there was a good chance I could get fired. But when my boss told me that any other person would have gotten fired, but because your management knows that you're a good worker, they decided just to write you up and just to give you a warning, right? It wasn't a fucking surprise. And I even remember when those words left my boss's mouth, I was looking at them eye to eye. I can even fucking remember the pupil, okay? Their fucking eye was blue, all right? And I remember I didn't even fucking flinch. And I've sometimes flinch even when somebody fucking throws a fart, all right? But for some reason, my boss, who could have fired me in that moment, and they literally said that if they wanted to, they would have fired me right now. but the only reason they didn't is because there was other people vouching for me, right? And I didn't even fucking flinch, right? And part of me was like, wow, Neo, do you not fucking care? But it's not that I don't care. And I've even been criticized about that before. But you want to know the fucking mental diet that you should have? You should have you should have a bit of healthy arrogance about your life. Not thinking that you're better than other people. But if you want to know who you think you should be better than, you're fucking better than the circumstances. Okay? Whenever you see a situation where you could have gotten fired, you say, I don't give a fuck. This company is screwed without me. And even if I was to get fired, I would find something better with 5 times the fucking salary. Right? With an SP. That's the same mentality you should have. I will even go as far as to say with SPs, you should say my SP worships me. There's nobody fucking better than me. But even if they were to get rid of me and break up with me, I would find somebody 10 times hotter, 10 times better, 10 times more loving, and they will never find somebody better than me, and they will regret it for the rest of their life. But I will always remain happy. You have to be still and know that you are God. Be still. Just like I was still when my boss fucking told me eye to eye that they could have fired me. There was a part of me that almost had to pretend like I fucking was hurt by that comment, because I'm going to be honest with you. At the beginning of that meeting, he actually told me that he thought that I didn't even give a fuck. And of course, I had to tell him, like, no, it's not that. It's just, blah, 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 right? But it's not that I don't give a fuck, guys. But I'm not going to fucking sit here and shiver and say, oh, you almost fired me. I have the best fucking customer service in that fucking company. And I've had multiple customers fucking cry when I wasn't there. I can't even go on vacation because I come back and everybody is saying, where's Neo? Where's Neo? We haven't seen you in forever. I leave for 2 days and all the customers are like, what the fuck? Okay, sure, I might have fucking accidentally damaged something in the fucking catering van. Okay, all right. Oh, well, I was being a dumbass, right? We all make mistakes. We've all had stupid, errors that we've made driving. Okay, right? But at the end of the fucking day, nobody treats the customers like the way Neo does, okay? And it's honestly one of the reasons why I'm ready to get the hell out of the restaurant business, because I've been doing it my whole life, yet they still don't fucking appreciate it, okay? And even that might be an assumption, but again, I'm okay with having that assumption, okay? Because there's a part of me that likes to get angry. I'm gonna be honest with you. Maybe I gotta fucking fix that. But either ways, all right? I've always had that mentality that no matter what happens, okay, I'm gonna be okay. And I've even told myself that I'm the luckiest motherfucker in the world. So you need to have the mental diet that is connected to a strong self-concept, okay? So I'll leave you with a couple of affirmations that you can say, right? Whether it's SP, always tell yourself that all my fucking SPs are like satellites in my solar system, but I'm fucking gravity. If it's your work, like I said, tell yourself that everything you touch turns to gold. You are the Lionel Messi of your company. Your company is screwed without you. Even if they were to fire you, they will be knocking on your door again and saying, you know what, we made a fucking mistake. Okay? Say crazy things like that. Like, even if I was to get fired, I would have 5 other places with 10 times the salary begging for me to be their CEO. Okay? So we see this all the time in sports too. Look at what happened with Luka Doncic with the Dallas Mavericks. That motherfucker had a boss and an owner who talked shit about him when all he did was great fucking things for that organization. Okay? I'm a Texan and I was fucking pissed when I heard about that. And they traded him for what? Anthony, old man, always injured Davis. Come on, man. Give me a fucking break. Okay, if it can happen to Doncic, it can fucking happen to Neo. It can happen to you, okay? It can happen to you getting rejected by an SP, right? But you always have to have that fucking mentality that whether SP breaks up with me or not, or I get SP or not, I'm always going to be fucking okay. I'm not saying that you cannot manifest SP, right? But you have to get to the point where you are good with or without them. So you want to know about the fucking mental diet? Put yourself above everybody. Put yourself on the fucking pedestal. All right? Now, I'll probably make another fucking video about this. Maybe like at least 500 more. But until then, folks, let me know if you want me to go more in depth, how I can go more in depth, or if this video was too fucking long. Until then, guys, I am Neil Lartos. This is all that the I'm Awareness had to say. And I know you're going to be okay.